William Shakespeare is easily one of the most influential playwrights of all time. He has quite literally shaped the English language towards what it is today, and impacted the way we think about many different concepts. His works are considered to be timeless classics all across the globe, and rightfully so. William Shakespeare was likely born on April 23, 1564. However, we don't know for sure, seeing as it was never recorded. We do know that he was baptized on April 26, 1564, and baptisms were usually undergone 3 days after the birth of the newborn. Shakespeare was also one of 8 children. When he was 4, his father, John Shakespeare, became the mayor of their hometown, Stratford-upon-Avon. This was very fortunate for Shakespeare, because his family's heightened status meant that he was able to receive an education from a grammar school. He did not just learn grammar there, but also the Latin language. This is also where Shakespeare learned stories from antiquity, which likely influenced some of his works, such as Julius Caesar. His education was crucial. He may have never become a playwright if he didn't know how to write. William Shakespeare obviously didn't dive right into the world of theatrics. It is possible that after he finished his studies, he worked in his father's glove-making business. We deduct this because of the massive amounts of references to the glove-making trade in Shakespeare's writing. In fact, a character in The Merry Wives of Windsor is written as having a great round beard like a glover's paring knife. After 3 to 4 years of this, William Shakespeare married Anne Hathaway in 1582 when he was 18. This was considered a bit scandalous because Hathaway was 26 at the time, and so William Shakespeare required special permission to marry her. At his age, he was considered to still be a minor. Also, Hathaway was already pregnant with their first child when they married. Still, they remained married for the remainder of their lives and lived in Shakespeare's birthplace and childhood home. Shakespeare became involved in theatrics shortly after he was married. In 1584, high-ranking officials of Stratford-upon-Avon staged a play. William Shakespeare almost certainly saw it or at least heard about it. It is also very possible that he was an actor or playwright for this production. In the later years of the 1580s, a number of theatrical companies visited his hometown, likely inspiring William Shakespeare to write his own plays. He probably began as an apprentice of sorts to established authors, such as George Peele and Christopher Marlowe. George Peele is believed to have guided William Shakespeare in penning Titus Andronicus, one of Shakespeare's less popular works due to its extreme violence. As time went on, William Shakespeare became more independent in his career and began writing more original works. In 1594, William Shakespeare had become involved with the Lord Chamberlain's Men, a group of actors that traveled around England performing various shows. This was incredibly important, because this was the acting group that made him famous. It was with them that he would go on to write some of the most influential pieces of literature of all time, and also where he would pick up some tricks of the trade as an actor. William Shakespeare probably did have a difficult time being an author. The Crown of England was typically one that was particularly sensitive. For instance, William Shakespeare could not write any literature about biblical figures under the reign of Queen Elizabeth I. Also, he was largely unable to write about any negative things about monarchs. Some scenes in Richard II had to be cut during the reign of Elizabeth I because they covered political topics that Elizabeth I was not particularly fond of having discussed. After 1606, William Shakespeare and other actors and playwrights couldn't swear in the productions. Shakespeare's company meetings actually may have been quite stressful. The Lord Chamberlain's men had to deal with competing groups, scheduling, strict laws, and serious performances such as ones before the Crown of England. Shakespeare made even plays that were written for their commercial appeal to have deep meanings. As he became more and more experienced, Shakespeare pushed more boundaries by changing styles and became more free in his writing. He began to do this because his early plays were wildly successful, and so he no longer relied on the success of his later works. This meant that he could write however he wanted to and about whatever he wanted to. And it was because of this that he created such influential works. Sadly, William Shakespeare died on his birthday. On April 23, 1616, William Shakespeare was found dead in his hometown of Stratford-upon-Avon. According to local legend, he died after a night of heavy drinking with his author friends. In his will, he had expressed his love to his family by leaving them his possessions, including the sentimental wedding bed left to his wife. Though he was given a wealthy man's burial at Holy Trinity Church in Stratford, his memory lives on forever. His friends assembled his works into folios, and one friend that he supposedly drank himself to death in the company of, Ben Jonson, stated that Shakespeare was not, quote, not of an age, but for all time, end quote. This statement was astoundingly correct. Today, we still study Shakespeare's work because of its monumental importance. To truly understand how Shakespeare changed writing and even the English language, simply read some of his work and compare it to other works of the time.